Okay, so I've done my initial gesture to the objects that are up here. And so once I've done my initial gesture, I've stepped back a little bit, right? What's the next step? I want to check my angles and kind of just rough placement. So I'm going to come up here, hold my angle to that object. Boom. Here we go. This one. There we go. But I don't want to lock this in too much, even at this point. I'm still going to keep it really light. Because, I could get all my angles correct and still have to move this object, So it's good to consider that this drawing is in a state of flux, right? And always rely back onto the gesture as your home base. I think I just found the problem that I was seeing earlier just by doing the gesture. But we'll know in a minute. Okay, so I've come in, checking angles. Okay, that's looking good. Good. Ooh, I forgot a whole object up here. That's okay. I'll probably have to move the box anyway. Notice I didn't, it's a small object with a lot of detail. Does that mean I go in and draw it with a whole lot of detail? No, I just kind of generally draw it in. And I'm not darkening my lines because every time we add a tool, like, the clock angle tool, it's like, then we apply the line variation with the darkening of lines. And now we're adding the perceptual grid. So after we get our placement using the grid lines, I almost said the glue lines, then we want to, what do you call it? Add line variation. Atmospheric perspective. You guys have been traveling down the road when you were a kid or when you're driving. Do you notice that way down the road it's a little bit blurry compared to how close things are fine and detailed, way up close, leaves of trees, and all that? Unless you aren't wearing your glasses or need a new prescription, of course. Happened to me last semester. Okay, my angles are looking pretty good. Still haven't really fully formed this thing in, but I have a weird feeling that I've got it roughly in there, but I have a weird feeling that I'm going to have to move it. And I already see why. So, now I'm going to come in and apply some grid lines. Where's a good place to start? Really anywhere. I would say the bottom of an object. So right here, I'm going to just run right across here like that. And I'm going to hold my pencil where that is at the bottom of that corner. And I could see that this triangle actually starts about right there. So it's a little bit above that line. Not too bad. So I just made that adjustment real quick. Hold it back up, cut right through here. All right, I'm in good company. This may lower just a little bit, but that's pretty good. I can lock that down and this down. Now maybe I'll go from the corner of this right across. There's really no wrong place to put a grid line. It's cutting just slightly, almost in the middle of this box, if not slightly below. So I've got a problem already. Now I have to assume either this box is too low or this back corner is too high. And so by doing that, I can come in and look. Maybe I need to check this angle again and see if something's off. Okay, it's correct. So I'm going to look at this space between the corner and the front right here, and I see that this is actually further behind. So what's happening, I think it's a little further up, like that. So I made a second adjustment to the pyramid. Now I can cut across and see that I went way too high. Right there in between where I put it. Notice that when I have to make a correction like that, I don't get frustrated and think I'm no good at this. That is part of the normal drawing process. I may have to come by and correct it even more. Now I can come up on the back end over here and see what happens. Slightly below, I'm pretty good here. And where's it cutting through right there? It's almost in the middle, maybe slightly up. Now, I'm going to do a couple of verticals. This is a good corner. See how these objects apply. So I'm going to measure straight up through here, holding that, pencil up. So this has to be to the right-hand side. The salt container is right on the money. And the only thing I'm seeing is this is a little bit longer because I'm cutting right through the middle of that box. My original gesture had it that way, and then sometimes when you fix things, you fix them wrong. So I'm pretty good right there for right now. Maybe the corner of this to check something. Okay, that is definitely in the correct place in relation to this spot right here. So I'm going to have to move the salt over a little bit because I have it lined up with the corner. So that means now it's there. Now, check that. It is exactly lining up with the corner of this pyramid with that. So that's good. So now I've got a few things locked in, honed in. I know something, right? I've got points of which I can work off of. Maybe the back part of this. The back part of that box is cutting through the middle here on these points. That's good. This box is definitely moved over the correct amount from that line. And when I come up here, I can see that this object, this large odd pyramid that's laid at its sides, is moving just slightly over that. So I'm going to just put that right there. Now, I'm going to recheck this angle. It's okay, it needs just a little adjustment. So, I know I can have this locked in now. So I can go ahead so I can have a little bit of an understanding of the things that I know I can work with. Alright, so I'm going to bounce right off this. Actually, I'm going to come from the top of this and move over, and I'll know where to place this. So, it's slightly below the top. So, I have a question. Is this point of this pyramid lower, or does this have to get taller? That's a good question. You're always faced with like a couple of choices. And does anybody have a guess? No? Yeah, I'm thinking it needs to be a little taller as well, huh? Maybe. I'll put it up here and see. Maybe I don't know yet. Does that look a little more correct or incorrect? I'm not sure about that. We'll go over proportions next time, but I'm going to check it right now just to see. That's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check the angles of this large pyramid, that is laying on its side, that structure. Go ahead and draw all the way through whatever it is that you need to draw through. That's okay. There's another one on the back end right there. I've drawn so much, I've kind of got this mess here, so I'm going to tone it down a little bit where we can start to see the planes. I'm seeing an issue here too, and I know why. This angle is actually coming down like this, back angle. This is coming over just a little bit to make it a little more square. Okay, so I'll hone in on a couple of other things real quick. Is the process making sense? Okay, good. Okay. Since I neglected this little box, I'm going to have to readjust it a couple of times too. Whew, that thing is over that side, so I have some issues here. I'll draw a line through there. The corner of that box is actually over here. I'm thinking this box is going to have to move over a little bit over here like this. And maybe even get just slightly bigger. Not just to fit this in, I'd like to squish it in, but I'm looking at some other things. It's going to have to move over there regardless. So moved it over there. Now that back corner, that part's good, which means knock down a little bit of confusion there. Ooh, I'm going to have to move this whole thing over. All right. That is part of the process. We're constantly shifting and moving. I've got that angle off too. It's actually coming more like that from where I'm standing, which is different than where the camera's at, by the way. Now, I told you, we're talking about the XY axis grid, so that means, X-axis goes this direction, Y goes this. It's easy to remember Y to the sky. That's how you remember that. You can also measure angles between things, so I could actually go like from here to here and see if that's correct. Right on the money. So that's nice. From there to there, this actually comes up just a little bit to about this point. And it's like I'm laying all the groundwork now, so it kind of probably makes a little more sense to you guys now as to why I kept telling you not to have a lot of detail, right? Because you're constantly having to move and shift things. So, you can really, the more you're measuring like this, the more correct things are going to line up. It's like you're putting in work beforehand so that by the time you get to the end, there's no surprise as far as obvious mistakes. You still may have a drawing that doesn't work, but you cut down the chances of it not working, at least as far as things like angles and proportion and placement, which we tend to struggle with a whole lot. Now I could come back in and really start adding some line variation. There we go. Notice I'm not sitting here worrying about it, just doing it. And I'm not outlining either, just bringing certain things forward. For instance, this line is going to be darker than the line behind it. helps to bring things forward and move things back in space. And some weight right here. Good old atmospheric perspective. Always serves you. Still need to work on this area over here a little bit. But for the sake of a little bit of brevity, I'm going to go ahead and stop. So everybody understands the grid lines? Okay, good.